Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're going to be talking about one of the more interesting teams coming into the summer split in the LCS, and that is TSM. People do not really know where to rate this team or what to expect from them coming into the summer split because coming into spring, people had them, overall ranked pretty high. 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe 6th if you were really down on TSM. Obviously, they ended up finishing 9th. They've made some changes since then. They've made some moves. They also ended the spring split looking pretty okay. And now people have them all over the place again. People have them everywhere. I've seen from as high as 4th to as low as 9th. But overall, from what we saw this past weekend, I just want to talk about some good news, but mostly some bad news for TSM. But before we get into that, a word from today's sponsor, which is, of course, Prize Picks. You guys got to know them by now. They are a very awesome website and app that you guys can check out today in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. You pick your over-under on player props to win up to 10 times your cash, big payouts, 24/7 live support, fast and secure withdrawals, and of course they offer League of Legends esports. Some of the picks I'm looking at for tomorrow, at least tomorrow at the time that I'm recording this, is Faker over 5.5 kills in the first 2 games against Sandbox, and then UCal over 5.5. I want to say over 5.5 kills in the first 2 games against WE as well. If you guys want to make some picks of your own, definitely check out the first link in the description below, where Prize Picks is going to match your first deposit up to $100. Thank you so much to them for supporting me, and if you guys support them, that would also help me out a ton, and thank you so much to them. Check them out. With that being said, let's get right into this. This is obviously what happened with TSM this weekend. Some of the interesting storylines coming into this split is, Spica in a contract year, Maple, the new mid laner, how big of an improvement is he going to be over Kaiduo, and just how good is he going to be overall? And then also, you have the fact that Shenny was announced as a starter. He ends up getting benched, and Mia ends up playing. And in the first game, TSM, they got off to a big lead against 100 Thieves. They end up throwing. Game 2, they lose to CLG. All the Reggie house memes and everything comes back. And then in the last game of the weekend, Immortals, they end up beating them. This is Immortals with a rookie jungler, Ignar, who took a split off, and then Power of Evil, who I believe was playing on 0 days of scrims. He just got back from Europe after he got his green card and everything done. He either had 1 day of scrims or no days of scrims. So overall, 1-2 weekend for TSM. And one of the biggest storylines that I want to talk about, especially in these first 2 games, was the fact that Tactical did not play great. In the 100 Thieves game, he is playing Ezreal, and he gets caught out multiple times when TSM is in a very winnable position. Some people were almost saying an unlosable position. I know that Abadage was struggling. Maple's having a very good game. Spica was doing well. We look at some of these scores. We'll see that obviously the TSM scores didn't end up being that good. They didn't end up being that well, but Spica on the Jarvan getting a lot of plays done early. Obviously, Maple on the Azir, he looked pretty good. You can even see at the end of the game, he ends up like 70 CS up over Abadage, but Abadage landed a couple big picks, Charms, Everfrost onto the Ezreal of Tactical when he had E up, when he had Flash up, and it ends up kind of losing this game for TSM, and people were very critical of Tactical. After the game, he tweeted out, "Sorry, I am just bad player." And this, could definitely be him memeing, joking, which he definitely does a lot, but it could also be him showing some frustration, showing being upset. Obviously, Spring Split was a very stressful and upsetting time for a lot of members of TSM, but definitely Tactical. He was involved with some drama, going on with just 1, his play, 2, with the team finishing 9th, and then also some drama between him and Shen Yi and all this other stuff going on. And then, obviously, Summer Split starting off a little bit rough is just kind of feeling like more of the same for some of them. Tactical, definitely a guy who struggled with some burnout, maybe some mental health stuff in the past and so far in his career. So to see him tweeting out stuff like this or saying stuff like this, especially just 1 game into the split or 1 weekend into the split, I don't think is great news for TSM. Also, obviously, as a team, TSM needs to have some resident players. Obviously, a lot of their strategy recently has been about going out and getting imports. We've seen Shenny, we've seen Kaiduo, we've seen Maple, now we've seen Mia all get brought in. And Tactical was a guy brought in the offseason as well. And they, you need to have these good resident players going forward. You can only import the 2 players. And Tactical is a guy that I think TSM signed to a 2 or 3 year deal. they need Tactical to be good. He is supposed to be one of their guys who is a staple. He's a guy who's been to Worlds. He's a guy who, has made good runs in the LCS. And Tactical is supposed to be one of the more solid players on the team. He shouldn't be one of the big question marks. These other new players you're bringing in should be the more of the question marks. So the fact that Tactical is showing some of these old tendencies of, dying in big late game situations, maybe going a little too over aggressive, maybe just always having the big death to lose his team the game. It's kind of been the story of Tactical's career so far at Worlds for Team Liquid, in the playoffs for Team Liquid, and now for TSM. Not so great. But on the bright side, we did get this from Tactical in an interview where he said he's optimistic about their spring run not being repeated. He said, this time around, our vibes are a lot better. And for myself, I'm confident I can do better. I know the trajectory of summer will be a lot better for sure. But then again, you also get, tweets like this, and it's just like, hey, I don't know where Tactical's at mentally or confidence levels. I don't know where a lot of these players are at. And Tactical, if he's not feeling 100% confident, if he's not feeling 100% ready to go, it could lead to some, freezing up on stage, to some hesitation, to getting caught out by Ahri, max range Ahri charms with E and Flash available and stuff like this, or if he's overthinking, he's over-hesitating. I don't know. Some of that could be going on. This is definitely something I'm worried about. Another big thing that I'm worried about as well, and this is something I tweeted out, is this. I said I will ask again, what the fuck is TSM doing? There's a 0% chance that Shenny is worse than Mia, or the team plays worse with Shenny. TSM fans analyzing solo queue strikes again. TSM came out and said, hey, Mia's doing good in solo queue, he's doing good in champions queue, he's doing good in some of our internal scrims and stuff. But I just don't get it. Shenny is, I've said this so many times, and I'm going to keep saying this. Shenny is their blue chip prospect. This guy was playing for FPX. This guy had LPL offers. This guy was the main component of Team Speaks Mandarin. Their Chinese future. They wanted to build around all these different LPL, LDL players, whatever. And Shenny was the big guy they landed. Shenny to TSM is what Berserker is to Cloud9 in some ways. Now, obviously, I think Berserker is a higher level prospect, but Shenny's up there. Shenny is one of the, kind of biggest young prospects to ever come to the LCS. He didn't get a chance to play a full split in the spring. Some of that was his fault, some of it not. And now he's already not getting a chance to perform in the summer. And hey, if it's because Mia is just so cracked or the team just plays so good with him or whatever, that might be fine. But from what I saw from this weekend from Mia, that was not the case. This first game, in the 100 Thieves game, he played the Karma, and we heard that, hey, Mia's going to be a lot better at these enchanters than Shenny is. Shenny's more about engaging. Mia's more about enchanters. But this Karma game, I don't think Mia played egregiously bad. He ends up going 0-4-2, so he didn't really do anything too crazy good. But I just found myself 20 minutes into the game being like, hey, I don't really have a moment of remembering anything that Mia's done. He hasn't really stood out to me in a good or bad way, which maybe is not the worst thing in the world, but it's not like he did anything too impressive. Then we have the CLG game where they decide to pick him Tom Kench. They go for the Tom Kench, and I was just a little bit confused of we heard that, Shenny's the tank engage player and Mia's all about enchanters. So why, second game into the season, are we picking him Tom Kench? He ends up going 1-3 or 1-7-3. Really, really rough game. He had some good moments with some good ults and stuff like that. But you're playing Tom Kench. Yeah, you're going to save some people. You're going to have some decent ults and stuff. But just dying so much and not really getting a whole lot done at the end of the day. And then finally we have the Immortals game where he gets to play a Lucian Nami lane. He does better overall. Still, 3 deaths. Maybe not the best thing in the world, but obviously him and Tactical did much better overall in this game. But again, Immortals is seen to be a bottom, kind of lower tier team overall. And I just have so many questions about is Mia really better than Shenny? What is the TSM organization here? Why is Shenny not getting an opportunity to play? Because so far, from what I saw in this first weekend, TSM didn't really look that amazing. I know I got a comment on one of my videos that was like, you're being overly critical of TSM. They were competitive in all 3 of these games. Look at who they played. They played Immortals, CLG, and 100 Thieves. Yes, them being competitive with 100 Thieves and almost winning that game is awesome, but they didn't. They throw, and then their other 2 opponents are CLG and Immortals. These are bottom 5 teams in the LCS. Yes, CLG's off to a hot start or whatever, but I don't think they're legit. I don't think they're going to be there at the end of the year. And Immortals is Immortals. These are weak teams. They didn't play Liquid. They didn't play EG. They didn't play Cloud9. They played one top 4 team overall this weekend. They had an easy weekend. They had an easy schedule. So no, I'm not too, up in the arms, oh, congrats TSM. You were competitive in all 3 of your games. No, that should be the bare bare minimum for TSM if they're claiming, which a lot of the guys are, Spica has those interviews of saying, hey, we are a top 5 team. So overall, I just think it's bad news for TSM. That Tactical looked rough and is maybe not in the best mental state. I think it's not great for them that they're benching Shani and then Mia comes out and doesn't look that great, because I think this is going to be, continue to be kind of drama and an issue going forward on into the season. And then, of course, the biggest bad news of the whole thing is that the Reggie memes are popping up again. As he said, there's no fucking way I would ever let us end up like CLG. I would sell my house, car, and clothes, my everything, to sign the best talent at that point. Yet here we are again with CLG taking down TSM in pretty embarrassing fashion. And CLG, sitting atop the LCS standings right now. TSM sitting at 1 and 2. As is after CLG already beat TSM last split, ends up finishing over them. And it's looking like they might be on track to do so once again in the summer split, which, Reggie's having to eat his words probably way sooner than he thought he was going to have to. And also he's proving that he's not willing to back those up, because him and TSM definitely did not open up the checkbook too big between spring and summer. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Tell me, drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about TSM or any of the stories I talked about today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Consider checking out Prize Picks. First link in the description below. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.